that. But this is an information session for you all to learn some things about what's going on in District 4 and citywide. And so we want to be timely. We're going to have a format. You can ask your questions, and we'll go from there. But let me give you some information before we begin. As always, the best ways to contact our office, 313-224-4841. You have it on your sheet there, your color flyer there. Also, our website, DetroitD4.com, DetroitD4.com. You can always go to the city's website. We have a page there as well. And if you have an Android or iPhone, you can keep it down in the back there so we get the information going here. We have an app on Android or iTunes. If you can download that app, you can type in District 4 Detroit or Councilman Spivey, it'll come up. Everything on our website on DetroitD4.com is on that app. So download the app, and we update it daily, and you'll get information there. I want to give you some upcoming dates that are very important. Some are taking place this week. I think Letty is on her way. She has one. I'll save hers to the end. On the 31st, we are not doing our usual float from the parade company that goes around the entire district. We are partnering with Salvation Army, Precinct 5, and the Recreation Department, and we're going to have events at the 5th Precinct, as well as Chandler Park. And we're going to provide, my staff came up with this, the Spivey Spooky Shuttle. And so you can go to all three places. We're going to shuttle you back and forth between Chandler Park, the 5th Precinct, and the Salvation Army. I don't know what time. What time they begin, Bradley? Bradley? What time? What time Thursday? Okay, between, again, Chandler Park, 5th Precinct, and Salvation Army, 6:30. We'll get you back and forth. That's on the 31st of October. On the 4th of November, we were going to have a session with all of your elected officials from the federal level down to the precinct level. Gary Peters, Senator Gary Peters, and Reps Rashida Tlaib and Lawrence, their schedules didn't quite work out. We're going to do that in the spring. However, the Detroit Police Department will be here on the 4th of November at 6 p.m. They're going to do a session on facial recognition. So they want us to vote on something before we go on recess. They want to get to every single district, so please be here. We'll be in the other room when you come and make it right there, 6 p.m. on the 4th of November with DPD for facial recognition workshop there. On the 19th, at the Salvation Army is our evening council meeting, our last one of the year, at 7 p.m., Salvation Army. So please come there on the 19th of November for our evening council meeting, Salvation Army. I'll say this again at the end of the meeting. On the 21st, we're having our annual District 4 Thanksgiving dinner back at the Salvation Army, and that is at 6:30. You must RSVP by November the 15th. Come to the dinner. We have about 300 folks every single year. But please RSVP by December 15th and get your name on the list there. And then lastly, that's all the dates I have. Every date I have, I'll give them again at the end of the meeting. And then you should have received, if you did not, you can get on the website. This is a D4 Community Fund application. You all get that? Anyone get that? Okay. If we don't have copies here, it's on our website. We promised you that we were going to have a D4 fund where homeowner associations, block clubs, and community groups can apply for micro grants. We receive funds from Quicken Loans, from TCF Bank, and we have the funds available now for you to apply for micro grants. So it's about a 7 or 8 page application there. So please fill it out. Get it back to us. We want to help our community do things you can't do on your own or you need some assistance with. So please fill that out. You can find it on our website, DetroitD4.com. I'm going to stop there and introduce my staff, those that are here. Where's my staff can come forward very quickly. If my staff, Bradley and Keisha are working back there. Bradley's here. Come on up, Bradley. Very quickly, and then you can go back to work. All of you know Keith Jones, our chief of staff. He's at a training tonight. Keith Jones. This is our policy analyst, Ed King, who handles all of our policy issues in our office. To my far left is Delaney Williams, our office manager. And these two are the hardest working young ladies in District 4. Bradley Merrill and Keisha McKinney. I want to thank, Delaney's in the middle. Keisha and Bradley, who work very hard. And we lost one of our policy analysts who's now in the Creole department. We're looking to hire one more policy analyst, and that may happen after the first of the year. So thank you all. Get back to work so we can get this party on the road. I want to recognize DPD is in the house here. I saw State Rep Joe Tate come in the door. I saw him. Joe Tate's back there. And we have a rep from Council President Brenda Jones' office, Linda Wesley. And Brenda Jones is a resident of District 4. And that's all I see now that we're going to. Brother Perkins, our District 4 deputy manager is here. I think Letty is on her way. I think those are all of our officials from the city of Detroit. And as always, we thank our media services for allowing us to sound good and look good while we're here for this meeting. I have one more item I want to give you. I'll give it to you at the end of the meeting. It may take a little while to give you that. But we have some people here who will give you a lot of information, and they're going to come here. The format will be to make good use of your time. They're going to present for about 10 minutes. If you all can keep it down way in the back so we can give you this very important information. We can keep it down in the back. We'll make good use of your time here tonight. They're going to present for about 10 minutes each. After each presentation on that subject matter, we're going to give you another 10 minutes to ask some questions. If you have more, we can do that at the very end, all right? So I want to bring up from our health department, Ms. Denise Fair. Come on up, Denise. Representing our FCA project, Kawan Bowman. Come on up, Kawan. From our planning department, Alan Pennington, up here in front, up front. Alan Pennington. From our assessors and Board of Review, Brother Willie Donwell. And representing the I-94 project, John Boldoff. If they will please come, if you give them all a big hand, you can do better than that. Come on, District 4. I'm going to have them introduce themselves again and give them their title and what they do. And they will make we're going to stick to 10 minutes if we can, 10-minute presentation. You can't give them everything tonight. And then we want to take questions from the audience for about 10 minutes on that subject matter. And so Ms. Fair is fairly new to us, and I will have her go right here first. Take it away, Denise.
All right, well, welcome. Thank you so much. Can you guys hear me okay? Yes, can you hear me? All right, well, good evening, everyone. All right, let's try that again with a little bit more vigor. So good evening, everyone. Great. So my name is Denise Fair. I'm so excited to be here. I'm your Chief Public Health Officer for the Detroit Health Department. I am now in my 3rd month and continuing to learn and listen and hear more from all of you. So we'll start really quickly with the who, the what, the where, the when, the why, and of course the how. So I'm a native of Ypsilanti. I actually live here now in the great city of Detroit. I went to University of Michigan, go Blue. UC Berkeley, where I received my master's in public health, and I am currently in school to receive my master's in business administration and finance from the Mike Ilitch School of Business at Wayne State because I love to learn. My why, I'm really so passionate about the city of Detroit and passionate about developing programs and services to make a difference in every one of your lives. And I can't do this with just myself, so I have a wonderful team who has really supported me over the last couple of months. What I do outside of work, I am a mentor. I am a runner. I am a foodie, which is why I have to run. And I spend a lot of my time just kind of downtown and in the neighborhoods. So we're going to switch gears enough about me and talk about the mission and vision and values of the health department. At any organization, it's so important to have a mission and vision of what we hope to accomplish and how we plan to achieve those goals. So for the mission, I'd like to partner with all of you in order to protect and promote your health, your well-being, your safety and resilience. And with the support of my team, the goal is to respond to every one of your public health concerns with exceptional leadership, policies, programs, and services. And the vision is to create healthy environments and communities so that every Detroiter has an opportunity to thrive. And that's really what I want to talk to you about today, the community health assessment. Assessment was done about 18 months ago, was an 18-month process, where we asked all of you to let us know what are your primary health concerns. So we asked 2,000 of you to participate, and you gave us your input. We asked you to participate in focus groups and interviews and community meetings and also surveys. And the goal was to discuss visions for a healthier Detroit, to discuss public health issues and community strengths. I've asked my chief epidemiologist, Dr. Beazold, to come and just provide a quick overview of the community health assessment. Let's please welcome Dr. Beazold.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. So my job is to ensure that the health department has the data we need to provide the best public health services in the city of Detroit. That starts with hearing from all of you. So the community health assessment, as Denise mentioned, was a process that engaged over 2,000 Detroiters. One of the ways we did this, and one of the things that you'll see on the sheets in the back if you pick them up, is through a survey. It was called the Detroit Metropolitan Area Community Survey, or DMACS. This was a representative survey, so this is something kind of important to think about when you're looking at the results for your district. We didn't talk to everybody in the district, but we talked to a sample of people that were representative of the district, that were able to weigh in with their priorities and their concerns. It's also important to note that if you weren't engaged in this survey, it doesn't mean we don't want to hear from you, so can't emphasize that point enough either. And then as Denise said, the community health assessment is about hearing from Detroiters about health concerns, about health priorities, about where you want us to spend our time building a healthier community in partnership with you. From these data, we're going to develop an improvement plan, or a CHIP, a community health improvement plan, which will guide our work and the work of many community partners, some of which are probably included in this room, for years to come. And with that, I will turn it back to Denise.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, so now we're going to get into the results. Yes, let's give it up for Dr. Beazold. Thank you. All right, so let's talk about the results from the survey. So we are in District 4, right? Am I in the right place? Okay, I was actually at District 1 on Saturday, so this is my second community. So District 4 profile, so approximately 84% of District 4 indicated that you feel as though your health is excellent, good, or very good. So that's 84%, so that's pretty good. So what are the social determinants of health? Social determinants of health is kind of a public health buzzword. Essentially, public health really isn't about if you're sick or if you're not, but it looks at the whole individual. And believe it or not, the environment and the society that you are in really shapes your health and wellness. And so according to the World Health Organization, health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. So examples of the social determinants of health are safe housing and neighborhoods, access to jobs, and quality education. And so we're going to talk about those social determinants. So compared to the city of Detroit overall, District 4 has more people who graduated from high school, more households with a vehicle, more families living in poverty, and more households without the internet. More often than not, District 4 residents had someone to take them to the doctor if needed for strong social support, talk to them about their problems, and help them with daily chores if they were sick. So again, this is for strong social support, particularly for District number 4. Now, I do want to spend just 2 minutes on this particular slide. When we asked all of you questions about your health and wellness, you identified some challenges as well as assets. And so one resident in particular described how the neighborhood has become less populated, again in District 4, but overall is getting better. So houses in the area are being restored all the time, and he acknowledged that there are community organizations where adolescents can learn important life skills in the district. The asset, as people in District 4 agreed, parks and rec centers were one of the top 5 things supporting their neighborhood quality. For quality of life, we asked them to rank what's so important. Number 1 was schools. Number 2 was parks and rec centers. 3, programs to help people find jobs. 4, public transportation. And 5, grocery stores. So again, we asked you to rank the items that are important to your quality of life. So we took all of those and plus the responses. The top 3 themes are number 1, well-being of children, and these are the priorities to improve community health. Number 2, mental health. And finally, number 3, access to healthy and safe environments and housing. So these are the top 3 themes that we identified. I realize that our time is running short, but the Detroit Health Department is here to provide services to the city of Detroit. And some of these I can briefly discuss, but Sister Friends Detroit, do we have any big sisters here from Sister Friends? Any big sisters? No? Well, I'd be happy to sign all of you up. Sister Friends is a program designed to partner pregnant moms that are called Little Sisters with big sisters to provide mentoring and support and guidance. Of course, we have our Detroit Animal Care and Control. We have trauma and behavioral health. We have our WIC program, and we do provide immunizations at our Samaritan Clinic. And also, if you have children between the ages of 3 and 18, we can provide vision and hearing screenings. Our locations are all across the city of Detroit. Our administration is located on Jefferson. We have maternal and child health on 7 Mile. We have a STD clinic on Canfield. But we are moving. So the the health department is moving to 100 Mac in December. So we will be in the Midtown location. If you have any questions, please feel free to call our main line at 313-876-4000. We are very active on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. Not really sure. Feel free to contact us. Thank you so much. We'll open up for questions. If you have any questions, you can feel free to come to the middle mic. Thanks. Hi, what's your question?
Questions. One is, does the health department have a program for asbestos testing and remediation and the effects that it could have on people's health? I see there's a lead program.
Oh, yeah. So we don't have that within the health department. However, that is a city function through BSEED. And so you can contact BSEED, which stands for the
Building Safety, Engineering, and Environment. And they have the subject matter experts on asbestos. That's not a capacity we have in the health department.
Okay. Okay, the second question is, I wondered how you factored in for the increased pollution that's going to take place with the expansion of the Fiat Chrysler plant. Have you taken into consideration the pollution and how it affects health,
Sure.
air quality?
Sure.
Definitely. So in the community health assessment specifically, we did not include air quality data as one component. We recognize that air quality data is definitely something in public health that we're paying attention to. And so we do work with EGLE, the state department that's in charge of monitoring air quality, to ensure that information is available. We do our part as much as we can to make information available, and it's certainly something that we're open to continuing to discuss to figure out how we can support. But it is an area where there's also a lot of other government agencies that are also at the table, right, and are contributing to that air quality data that we all use to then kind of do our job in public health.
Okay, good. So what department in the city is looking out for the health of the people in Detroit in regard to the increase in pollution that's going to take place with the expansion of the Fiat Chrysler plant?
I think
Which department is working for the people?
It's a
on that
group
regard?
effort. It's a joint effort by city departments, including health, including the state, including other members of the city government.
Okay, so there's no department in the city who understands that there's already a problem with air quality in industry, trucks. In Southwest, they're actually doing some retrofitting for furnaces and air conditioners because they know that the pollution is affecting the health and well-being of the people. And so I just wondered, with your department, how you factor that in. And I haven't really, I didn't hear, if you said it, I didn't really hear exactly how you factor that in and who's working on behalf of the people.
Absolutely, and we're really eager to work with you. We do work the project you're mentioning in Southwest. That's something that we work very closely on, and we're very eager to work with anybody in the city who's interested in this issue. So happy to continue that conversation, yeah, and to support, absolutely.
Any other questions? If you have a question, yeah, come on. Yes.
We're going to wrap, have your
I
attention.
have a quick question.
I know,
I have a quick question. So my question is,
wait a
in
minute.
the
Wait a minute.
assessment-
I'm going
Okay.
to ask you a question. I want to wait a minute. If you have a question, if you can line up so we can know who's here for health. So we can move. If you have a question, come on up. Health question, come on up. Just line up by the mic so we know how many persons are going to be asking questions so we don't have to wait people to get out of the aisle. If you have a question for health department, come on up. Just come on up. Now you can go. Go ahead, sister. Go ahead. There you go.
So I would like to know, in the assessment, did you guys factor in how many homes are living in District 4 without water? And what is the plan for that?
So I don't know if I can answer this question because it's, so the way that the assessment was conducted, we sent a survey out to how many residents was it? So it was probably, so 1,200 residents, and then there was a select number of individuals who replied from District 4, but this survey did not take into account specifically water. We asked residents, what does healthy mean to you? So this is a question that was a broad question that we asked, and these are the responses.
So who's working on behalf of the people in District 4 or in the city, period, that are in homes that are living without water?
So I really wish the water department was here to help respond. Did you want to respond?
Right, isn't it a health concern if people are living without water?
So let me respond to that
yeah,
question.
okay.
Let me respond to that question. Both individuals are brand new to the health department. Ms. Brenda, I'm not going to have it tonight, sister. I'm not going to have it tonight. Let me answer the question. They both are brand new to the health department. They just got there. The survey is brand new. They will be working with DWSD to make sure that's included as they go forward. We just did 1,400 homes. We didn't cover the entire district. So this is just a preliminary survey right now. We're going to do more as they get acclimated to their jobs at the health department, all right?
So can I see a hand of anybody in here that took that assessment or that survey? Can I please see a show of hands of people who took the health survey that she just mentioned, the assessment?
Are you done with your question? Are you done with the question?
Yeah, but
Okay.
I just wanted to know if it was anybody in the room, because
That's fine.
I would like to know a little bit more about the
You
assessment.
can see them afterwards for
Well, I
information,
just wanted
yeah.
to know if I could talk to a resident
We got that.
actually
Ma'am, you can
took-
come next. Go right ahead.
Okay, so nobody. And
Ma'am, you can come next.
No, this isn't about health. This is about
If we can't hear the questions if everyone's talking. Let's see, we respect the young lady here so we can hear her question. Thank you.
This isn't about health. I've been in my home since 1989, and they done went all around the neighborhood putting in sidewalks. And the street I stay on, which is Phillips, never had nobody to come down through there and check the sidewalks in the neighborhood.
So the sidewalk is not a health department question.
I know.
It came back there, so my staff, Keisha, we'll take your address and see. The DPW handles the sidewalk schedule, and we'll get your address and see when they might be coming down your street, okay?
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Hi, my name is Ella Kitchen. I belong to the Cadillac Block Club. My question is, what do we do about pollution in the neighborhood? Someone bought a home next door to me, and it's pollution, asbestos, and I suffer with asthma. I want to know, what do I do about that? And who should I contact?
So, thank you. We can definitely follow up with contact information for someone at the health department who's our team lead for asthma, and he does a lot of work in terms of providing resources, connecting people who are experiencing asthma to healthcare, and also additional monitoring. So those are two resources the health department can provide. I'm happy to follow up with you after.
And if you have any asbestos in a home next to you, if are they renovating the house?
Yes.
Okay, we need to talk to you very quickly. My staff is right in the back. There should be a way they get rid of that asbestos. Two young ladies way in the back. Bradley, raise your hand, please. And that'll be our last question for health right there. It'll be our last question, yep.
Okay, I hope this is a health department question. My name is Earlene Williams. I live on Ashland. For several years now, I've been trying to get the buildings next to me, abandoned buildings. They've been sitting there for I don't know how long. I'm the only person on my block except for one other person. I have asthma, and this is really affecting my health. So I take it that this is a health department issue. I haven't got anything from the city. I've been calling the office. Nothing. When are you going to tear down the houses?
So that's not a direct health issue, that's a demolition issue.
Okay.
It's an abandoned house right next door to you?
Several.
Right. So if you stay to the end, I'll talk about the bond proposal that's coming forward. I'll address that. If it's a demolition issue, I'll address that. Last question for help.
How you doing? I'm late, but I have a question about it's health, but it's the sidewalk. They fixed all the sidewalk on.
Again, that's not a health department issue. That's DPW. If you give Bradley and Keisha your address, we will see when they're coming down your street. Ron Burnett is a District 4 resident. They handle that at DPW, and so we'll see when they're coming down your block.
Well, I had to say it because
That's right. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Y'all be so busy.
You can see Keisha right here to your right. Keisha to your right. All right. Give the health department a big hand. Next, we're going to have an FCA update. Brother Bowman is coming. You've seen him at all of our meetings leading up to the FCA project. He's here for a brief update, and we'll take questions of what he's done. Brother Bowman?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. While we wait, so I just wanted to stop in tonight, give everyone an update on a small project that's happening in District 4. Yeah, little tiny project. Okay, there we go. So I'll update you on 4 different aspects of the project. One will be around workforce. I'll also talk to you a little bit about the home repair grant program. In addition to that, I'll talk to you about the construction updates and the neighborhood impacts. So just a quick recap of what's transpired since the deal was struck May 21st. The wall started, as many of you seen, the wall started being constructed the day after the project was approved by council. In June, we started the hiring outreach program, and that ran through August. In August, we also started we did some of the land bank came out to District 4. They did the Silot Fair as well as the Building Blocks event. We also started the home repair grant program, so there's 2 phases to it. We started phase 1, we started the intake program for that. FCA started to work with a subcommittee of the NAC to go through an environmental plan, which they needed to submit for their Eagle permit. And then, as you all seen, we started to do some of the non-structural blight removal in the community where trees were trimmed. There was a cleanup effort over the summer. Probably are still seeing our GSD department out there now. So as far as workforce goes, as many people have seen over the news over the summer, we have roughly about 40,000 people register for different alerts for the FCA hiring. Of those 40,000 people, 12,000 people actually participated. So not as high as we would have liked, but 12,000 people actually participated in one of 424 career events. So there were 424 career events across the city over the course of roughly about 90 days. There were 25 larger events, the last one being at Bishop Van's church, Second Ebenezer, sorry, where there were roughly about 1,600 people that showed up on the last day for that event. In addition to FCA, because other employers saw the droves of people that were coming out, you had roughly about 29 FCA employers, including DPD and other employers who came out, and people were actually hired. They got out of the FCA line and joined some of the other lines, and so 50-plus people were hired from those events that originally came for FCA events. It's hard to see at the bottom, but FCA actually started their first round of interviews August 26th. And so the interview process is still going on as we speak. As far as home repairs go, As I said, phase one, we broke it down into 2 phases. Phase one was focused specifically on Beneteau Street. And those were the people who were on Beneteau between Kirchville all the way up to Warren, where the wall was being constructed. And that was whether you had a wall in your backyard or you were going to wake up and walk out of your front door and see a wall. We have roughly about 62 applications that we did an intake for. And those are the people that up there it says acutely impacted by the wall. So they either had a wall in their backyard or when they stepped out of their front door, they could see a wall being constructed. Of those 62 applications, 23 of the homes have been assessed, inspected by the housing department's inspector has come out and actually assessed the needs of each home. For the repairs, so now that the inspectors come into those homes, those repairs will actually get bid out to contractors that are currently registered with HRD. If anybody in here is an actual registered, bonded, licensed contractor, and you want to figure out a way to become a part of HRD's roster of contractors, feel free to come up to me at the end. But those repairs will be bid out, and repairs are expected to go through for phase one to go through the spring. And so, obviously, with the weather changing, I will tell you that a majority of the work that needs to be done for phase one are roofs, and so, obviously, with the weather, we wouldn't be able to complete all of that over the winter. Phase two, which is the piece that will impact the greater impact area, and the impact area is defined as the boundaries between McClellan all the way over to Dickerson, up to 94 down to the water. And so that is the impact area for the project. Phase two of the home repair grant program is open up to the larger impact area, and we're expected to start that in May of next year. What are the requirements for phase two? This has been a question that a couple of weeks ago I got an opportunity to sit down with some people may have been at that meeting. But phase two requirements, right now what it's looking like is there's a maximum of $15,000 per structure. So per home, there's $15,000 max. There will be no cash payout. So the assessor comes in, he assesses what work needs to be done, and then that gets bid out. So it is a contract between the homeowner and the contractor, and the city basically pays that money out of the pot that FCA provided. As I said before, all impact area residents are eligible. There is an income requirement for phase two, and that's an 80% AMI. There's a dollar amount that 80% AMI was like the big point of contention during my last meeting. If anybody wants to know what that figure is, it is based upon the size of your household, but it's a chart that is provided to us based on our county, which those numbers kind of get inflated because Wayne County obviously has more than Detroit in it. But I do have that sheet that I can go over with you. For phase two, we are only working with owner-occupied homes, and so you will need to provide proof of owner-occupied. What owner-occupied means, and I want to really explain this because the reason why only 23 of the 62 homeowners from phase one have been inspected is because there's paperwork that is short. So what owner-occupied means is that if you live there, if you have the utilities in your name, the deed must also be in your name. I've run into issues with some folks where, if you grew up in that household, you were born in that house, and it was your parents' home, and your parents are deceased, you have to go to probate court to get that deed in your name. If you do not, we cannot process your application. So I want to make that very clear because that's some of the issues that we're going through right now. The deed must be in your name. Whoever is applying for the grant, that deed must be in your name, the utilities as well. The taxes must also be paid up. So the taxes either need to be paid or you must be in a payment plan where you've made 3 consecutive payments of the agreed upon plan. Homeowners insurance is required. On a case-by-case basis, we'll evaluate it because I understand that some homes in the area aren't able to be insured either because of the roof, the repair that is needed, or the siding or something like that. And so on a case-by-case basis, we'll look at the insurance requirement. In some cases, for phase one, it was an affordability issue, and so we looked at those cases as well, and we processed those. So homeowners insurance is a requirement, but on a case-by-case basis, we are working with, and that was something that the NAC members negotiated on behalf of the residents. And so for the last piece, which is really important, is that each application will be scored on using an impact and need-based rubric. And the only way for it to truly be fair is for us to actually utilize this rubric. For phase one, we didn't utilize a rubric because we knew that all residents on Benito Street between Kercheval and Warren would be, we would be handling the repairs. What that does is leave about half of the money that FCA has provided for the project. And so there's roughly about 10,000 households in the impact area. And so we have to look at, it basically becomes a lottery. And so we have to figure out the best way to make sure that we have the greatest impact, and it helps the people that are most in need. And so an example would be, if I just purchased my home in the impact area 2 months ago, I'm probably not going to get scored as high as someone who's been living in the area for 30 years. And so we wanted to make sure that it's fair to residents who've basically been here and stuck around. As far as construction goes, we started meeting with residents of the area, specifically Benito Street, where the construction was mainly going to be impacted. We started meeting once a month beginning in May. Those meetings just commenced, or just ended, just ended in October. October 14th was our last meeting. If anybody has been paying attention, the wall was just complete this weekend. And so you should see the wall running all the way from Kercheval to Warren. I believe the update I got this morning is that the wall is actually complete. What you will still see is that the stormwater retention pond, so Benito is still closed between Verner and Kercheval, because the stormwater retention pond is still being input, and the road needs to be repaved. I've been told that by mid-November, Benito will be back open, and by mid-December, the landscaping, the fencing around the pond, everything should be complete by then. The murals, so there's two areas of the wall. If you've seen a wall, it's kind of patterned. Alan can probably talk to you a little bit more about it, but there will be two murals on the wall. One will be directly across from Southeastern High School, and those murals will work with the city's planning department as well as our arts and culture department. We'll be working with Southeastern High School as well as the city murals program to make sure that we do justice to the wall. This mural actually will be the largest mural, I believe, in the city of Detroit. So we want to make sure we get it right and that we engage the community on that piece. I think I got that. This is kind of the concept that we showed throughout the project. This is what the stormwater retention pond should look like once it's complete. Okay. As far as the neighborhood impacts, there was a question earlier about demo. Right now, there's because of the urgency of the mayor as well as the NAC members to get demos started. Originally, demos weren't supposed to start until February. We pushed that up. We started actually doing demos this summer. And so there's approximately 50 demos that are already contracted. This map is really hard to see, but we have something called a demo tracker in the city of Detroit. If you have, you can actually all pull it up on your phone. You can look up, an address as you're walking by. It has GPS on it. If you see a home that you feel like it needs to come down, there's a phone number on there where you can text the address to that phone number, 313-254-DEMO. And that will then get alerted to, the demo department will get alerted, and then they'll go in and check in there. So in some instances, I can tell you that there's already 70+ demos that are in the pipeline. They haven't been contracted yet, but they are in the pipeline. But that demo tracker is the best way to find out exactly what properties are coming down in your area. There's 70 on the West End and East Canfield area. There's an additional 50 on the Riverbend side. Jeff Chalmers in the Chandler Park area didn't have as many, but I can tell you there's roughly about 150 or so demos that are scheduled to take place. As far as road improvements, I'll take your questions as soon as I'm done. As far as road improvements goes, Benito Street, obviously, there are street cushions there. What we're trying to do is deter street truck traffic. I know that that is not, by any means, it doesn't happen as often as we would like to, but that is the reason for the street cushions. Harding Street also had street cushions installed over the summer. McClellan Avenue, which I drove it, I was actually challenged by our city planning commission to ride McClellan at night, so McClellan is now being paved. I just had to dodge manhole covers on my way here, but I was happy to see that it is paved. There's lighting that will be, I'm working with our PLA department, our Public Lighting Authority, to make sure that we get additional lights to the area. Traffic signals on Jefferson, Warren, and Mack have been retimed to try to improve the traffic flow. There have been turn lanes that have been added to St. Jean and Jefferson, as well as Connor and Jefferson to better facilitate traffic. And then it's still an ongoing evaluation of traffic along Connor and, truck traffic and car traffic volume on Connor. The last piece I'll cover is around the neighborhood blight removal. As I said, there's non-structural blight removal efforts that took place over the summer, and it's still ongoing. So we're cleaning up the impact area. FCA has also actually deployed their volunteer network to come out and clean up the pocket parks that are not city-owned parks. And so some of you have probably seen some of that. The Montclair Garden and Park area, I know East Canfield Community Association, they have a project that they're working with to bring a community pavilion in. Dead or dangerous trees have been removed, and then seven of the 9 city parks in this area are scheduled, they're within the pipeline for our city's parks department to actually have some sort of improvements to it. So with that, I will open it up for questions.
Please come to the mic. If you have any questions on FCA, please come to the mic and make a line so we know how many people will be in line for those questions.
The only question I have, or it's a comment, is that you have these contractors that dig the holes out for the basement, and then they leave the holes. So, I mean, what is being done about that? Because it took 2.5 months to fill in the hole of a basement, and it was right across the street from a school. So I'm sort of saying I'm not really in favor of city council voting to give more money for a bond issue when the people that's already hired aren't doing their jobs.
That's a good point. I know that is one of the, okay.
Oh, I just wanted to know, can you give me the telephone number to the demolition list?
It's 313-254-DEMO.
Thank you.
It was easy.
Yeah, I just wanted to, since you brought up traffic lights, I wanted to bring up a problem that I've seen there, where a lot of the new lights are, the old ones were pretty much either right in the middle, or the one that applied to your direction was closer to you than the intersection. And so a person would slow down if it's dark or rainy and you can't see the white line on the road, that you would know that you were approaching the intersection and have time to slow down. Now a lot of the traffic lights are on the wrong side of the street. The new ones, it looks like they're putting them further away, so there's a greater likelihood that someone's going to overshoot the proper place to stop, and especially if it's rainy and dark, you're not even going to see where the stopping point is. The problem is most severe over on Harper by where Hayes and Hayes and Chalmers both meet up. Where if you're going on westbound Service Drive to I-94
I'm gonna take notes.
or Harper, it's either westbound Service Drive or Harper, and you're approaching that intersection, it looks like the proper place to stop is right at Chalmers, which means that you're driving into the intersection of Hayes. And so if they have a green light, they're going to assume people are stopping, and they're going to drive through, and people going the other way are going to think that they don't have to stop there.
I appreciate the feedback. I can take that back to our DPW department.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Cynthia Stephenson, and I'm from the Cadillac. I'm from the Cadillac Block Club. I just want to know what y'all going to do about Cadillac. You know, we got 16-wheelers coming down that street now. So we need our block done too, and we need sidewalks, and we need lights in the back of our houses. So what about Cadillac? But y'all skipped Cadillac and went to McClellan.
So I'll start with the last issue. We're not doing lights in the back of homes. We stopped that years ago. So no lights for alleys. However, there's a program of the DTE where you can pay $15 a month, and that light will be charged. It's a separate bill from your regular DTE bill, but we don't do alley lights in the city of Detroit any longer. With the Cadillac piece, with sidewalks, as I said before, we will call Ron. We'll have on our website. So you all can see the entire sidewalk schedule of the city of Detroit. That's done by DPW. When it comes to your street being paved, that's also DPW. We'll see why they've not done Cadillac and McClellan, probably because they figure more traffic will come down McClellan since we closed down. So we'll check it out.
We're getting
We'll
all
check it
the
out.
traffic from St. Jean. Y'all cut off St. Jean, so we get
We'll check it
all
out.
the
So
traffic.
we'll add that to our list of the paving for Cadillac as well as McClellan.
Okay,
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Lloyd. My husband and I live directly on Beneteau, looking at the wall that you were talking about. We've been there over 50 years. Now, I understand that Chrysler City or whoever it is that's coming through the neighborhood to revitalize the homes, if you qualify, like the list that you went over, if you qualify, they come out and they're going to do all these different things, and everybody knows you get nothing for nothing free. But we're being told that we don't have to pay anything. I have heard in another 10, 20, 25 years at the most that either Chrysler or the city will want to come and get your property because they've remodeled it and put money into it. Is this fair? Is this true? Do you know anything about it?
So I know everything about it. It's not true. And so I think you and I have had this conversation before around nothing being free, because I was the person that knocked on your door.
Yes.
This is actually free. This is Chrysler's donation to the project. There is no the city doesn't have eminent domain anymore, so we're not coming to get properties. The last thing the city wants is more property. We have more than enough. We're actually trying to get rid of property. Nor is FCA. So that is actually not
Now, if this
true.
becomes true, should we put our property in our children's names so that they are assured to get it in case we're not here?
I can't personally advise you of that, but I
It
will
might
tell you
be a
that
good
this is
idea.
not true.
Okay, that part is not true.
That is not true at all.
25 years is not.
No.
Because every 25 years, Chrysler
You
changes their
can
mind.
personally come find me, and
Thank
it
you.
is not true.
Thank you.
No problem.
Good evening, Jackie Grant from Morningside. Woo, woo. So here's my question. I want to circle back to the grants that you're talking about, that folks would get, and the difficulty of folks who have a family home, so the deed is not in their name. Are you helping them to transition that to the current owner, who is the latest family member?
So we're personally not helping people do it. What I have provided them are the two paths that they could achieve that. One is through probate court on their own. The other is hiring a real estate attorney. That is really the only two recourses that I can provide around it.
Mr. Donwell and I work on quite a few things to do with housing, but I want to say this, that United Community Housing Coalition does pro bono legal work, and they work a lot with family homes because that's a big thing in our city. So just to put that on your radar, because United Community Housing Coalition, 2727 Second Ave.
So are you saying I can refer people to you?
I,
Or to the coalition?
to my collaborative partners at the coalition.
I will definitely do that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
We want to help all of those owners, too.
I appreciate that.
Hi, so, I'm sorry. You work with FCA, is that right?
I work for the mayor's office.
Oh, you're with the mayor's office. Okay, great. I have a question about the grants and the repairs that are going to be done to the homes. Are the repairs that are going to be done to the homes, are they going to include reinforcing, replacing the windows with windows that can block out air pollution? Are they also going to be looking at shoring up the foundations, based because of I was on Beneteau today, and there were some residents who said that they could feel the jackhammer shaking their homes while they were inside of it. And we know, as I mentioned, from things that have happened in Southwest Detroit, the city already knows, I think, and has done some great work on compiling information that's needed in order to reinforce homes that are in areas that are heavily, where there's heavy truck traffic or where there's heavy industry. And so I'm wondering if the repairs that are going to be offered are going to include the recommendations that the city has made for reinforcing homes against pollution, shoring up the foundation, putting in air conditioning units with filtration. Is that a part of what's being done, or when the homes are assessed?
So when the homes are assessed, our inspector works directly with the homeowner to determine a priority list. A lot of the things you just named are way more than $15,000 maximum. It's just the reality of the situation. There's $1.8 million that FCA provided, and so...
Well, now, so we should really be clear that FCA didn't actually donate the money. This is a part of the community benefits agreement, right?
It is part of the
So,
community benefits
and the
agreement.
community benefits agreement was in place because of the tax breaks that the city and the state has given to FCA in order for this project. Is that
The
right?
community benefits agreement is in place because of the community benefits ordinance that our city council passed.
Right, right. So if
So
it's
that-
over a
that-
certain amount, just to make sure that
For clarity,
Yes, for
FCA
clarity.
did write the check. So
FCA
donation,
did write
whatever,
the check
whatever you want to call
as a
it.
part of the community benefits agreement, which was
Yes.
agreed to
Yep,
for
that I helped
all
negotiate.
development
So I'm very
over a certain
familiar.
amount. Okay.
But just to answer your question, once the inspection is complete, it is based upon what the inspector and the homeowner determines is the priority. And so we'll cover everything up to a max of $15,000.
Well, I do know that in certain homes, you can replace the furnace for less than $15,000.
Perfect. Yeah.
Good afternoon. My name is Carol Adams. I live at Dickerson, Jefferson area, and I work downtown. And you had spoke on the traffic on Jefferson. How far does that interest go? I mean, I'm going all the way downtown on Jefferson. So, of course, the traffic is horrible in the morning, horrible, and in the evening on our way home.
I drive that route.
We've tried to do a lot of things in this city all at one time, and now we're down to just 2 lanes. What can we do about that?
Sorry. So as far as the traffic on Jefferson, I am not sure about the full plan for DPW, but that is a question that I can raise up to Ron Brundrich.
Because what we're doing, we've cut down the lanes, and yet everyone still, their timing to get to the job, they have no large company has changed the timing. So we're just accident prone, probably. So the thing is, you were talking about they had changed some of
They retimed some of the lights?
Yes.
Yep. And added specific turning lanes.
I didn't see where they had changed any of the lights. I didn't see where.
I know there's still the paving of the construction that's happening on Jefferson is still ongoing, so I'm not sure what the finished product, what the plans are, but I can refer that question to our
Okay.
Department of Public Works.
Thank you. And
No
if we
problem.
can just move some of those white sticks over,
The
it would
bike lane?
help a great deal.
You make an excellent. Let me stop here. We did a survey in District 4. Those 6 of bike lanes, right? We did a survey online and hard copies for bike lanes throughout the entire district, and we provided the findings. Overwhelmingly, people in our district did not care for them. And so we didn't care for them. So there was a presentation made, if you recall, last year, the mayor had a meeting at the Salvation Army. Guess what? He'll be back November the 4th. Is
About
Perkins
that
here?
topic.
Where's the meeting, Perkins? Where is it? Jameson Temple, right? At Connor and Mack on the 4th. So come here at 6 on the 4th.
About that same topic we're talking about?
You can bring it up at his meeting, yes.
Oh,
So come
okay.
here first for the facial recognition, then go to his at 7. It'll be his mandatory charter meeting, and please bring up
I
bike
have.
lanes.
Every time I see him, I
Please.
bring it up.
Thank you.
But he ignores me. Okay, thank you.
I have 3, and I'll make it very quick. Question, is there any way that we can go back and negotiate something with the community benefit ordinance, seeing that they received 160 from the state and then 190 million from brownfield development?
No.
No, okay. Is it a traffic and a noise study being done, seeing that it's extra complaints coming from the residents on Beneteau about the noise and the traffic?
So the traffic and sound study was complete, and that was published by DPW.
Okay. And for those who don't have access to the internet, because you know we saw that in the health assessment, how do they get certain information if they don't have access to the internet?
What information would you be referencing?
I mean, any
'Cause there's-
information about, any information, because, and Brother Spivey just, you know, a couple of times he mentioned his website. You can go online, you can go on City Line. So we just saw in the health assessment that we have a number of residents that don't have access to the internet, and we didn't get any money for our libraries to be open extra in the community benefits ordinance. So how do they, or how are they supposed to get the information if they don't have access?
Well, any information that I have, I'm more than free to share with your district manager as well as your council member for the district, and I'll let Councilmember Spivey jump in.
So yeah, we'll have it at every meeting that we have. We have our district evening council meeting coming up. We have it at the mayor's meeting. Letty and Perkins will have it. We have a trade-off here, that we put everything online, or do we probably twice a year spend a lot of money to send out almost 35,000 pieces of mail, and a lot of it comes back. So if you need it, we'll bring Keisha and Bradley. We'll bring it to you if someone needs it.
Okay,
All right.
okay.
Brother
And
Bowman is here. Brother Bowman is for FCA. Thank you, Brother Bowman. If you have additional questions, it'd be for
I
we have
just
another
have
meeting
one
to go.
because the young lady
I
who
can't. I can't.
I just want to know
behind.
where y'all stop at with the home grants. She let me come
Pull
up
them to the
here.
side. Pull them to the side if you could.
Pull them to the side.
We have 3 major projects in our district with the planning department. Jeff Chalmers, those who live there, you know we went through this last year. We have Graduate 7, and we also have Cashew. We also have Cashew Warren taking place right now. And from the planning department, we have Brother Alan Pennington. Giving your attention. Brother Pennington, won't you come forward?
Good evening, everybody. We still doing good? I see, okay, I said mostly good. I see some familiar faces. I see Jefferson Chalmers with a good representation. I see Morningside, I see East English Village, I see some Riverbend. Yeah, who else we got? Chandler Park. Okay. Morningside again. It's great to be with you all. I will, in the interest of time, just jump right into it, respect for your evening. My name is Alan Penniman. I'm representing the Planning and Development Department. So as an urban planner, my job is to work with you to plan for the future of your neighborhood. And I was asked to come here today to give you a couple important updates about 2 neighborhood plans that are about to start. The first in the Gratiot 7 Mile area and the second in the East Warren Cashew area. So if I could ask to get the presentation to the first slide, we can. Oh, my bad. Okay. So now you get to see the whole presentation before I start. Okay, so as I mentioned, I was asked to speak about these 2 upcoming neighborhood framework plans. If you're unfamiliar with what neighborhood framework plans are, they are plans of action. So we're taking action on these plans. They're backed by dedicated funding resources, and they guide the future growth and investment of the neighborhood. Importantly, residents in the city are working together, not one or the other, but we're working together to achieve a healthy and beautiful Detroit that is built on inclusionary growth, not just growth, but inclusionary growth, economic opportunity, and an atmosphere of trust. So that's what we're working towards. There have been a series of neighborhood plans you may be familiar with. The first round, there were 3 plans with $42 million supporting the outcomes of those plans. In the second round, bumped it up to 7 neighborhoods with $130 million. So today, I'm going to be giving an update about these 2 plans here that are about to start. Again, Gratiot 7 Mile and East Warren Cashew. So Gratiot 7, and here I'm speaking on behalf of my colleague Khalil. She's a project manager. So she'll be working with residents of Franklin, Maple Ridge, Mohican Region, and Regent Park, as shown here. So there's Gratiot, There's 7 Mile. This is Khalil here. Her contact information is here. You can ask her any questions about the content of the plan, the schedule, that type of thing. She did ask me to make a quick plug for the first community meeting that's going to kick off this plan. That's happening Thursday, December 12th at the Matrix Center. So please come out for that if you're able to. Again, I can pass you on to Khalil if you want to talk after this presentation. And then secondly, I wanted to give you a quick update on the East Warren Kaju neighborhood plan. I have a little more to say about this because I'll actually be project managing this. So the East Warren Kaju is just the project name for this study area, which covers Morningside, East English Village, and Cornerstone Village. The scope of work that we'll be working together on is these 4 areas. So neighborhood stabilization, which essentially means removing blight. That came up a few times, so we'll be working with you to identify where we can remove blight, as well as where we can rehab vacant houses. We'll be looking at commercial and mixed-use development, which means new shops like Detroit Pepper Company, Flames just opened up, some more businesses like that. We'll also be talking about subsidized and market rate housing and the preservation of some of the beautiful historic buildings along East Warren. Third, renovation of East Warren itself. We just had a small discussion about bike lanes, and the sentiment is pretty clear that there can be a better allocation of space. So we'll want to work with you to figure out how we can balance the needs of, yes, folks who get around by car and want an easy place to park, but also folks who are taking the bus, walking, and biking, because they're part of the community too. So we're going to try to strike that balance. And then thirdly, improvements to parks. So here we'll be looking at opportunities to create new or improve existing park amenities and make sure that everyone has convenient and safe access to a park in their neighborhood. Folks often ask us, the future is great, but what about existing homeowners and existing businesses who have been here and stuck it out? There are a whole host of resources, too much to go through here in this brief time, but we definitely want to plug you into any resources that you may or may not be familiar with to help you with your business or with your home. So that's part of it too. We've been kind of doing the circuit trying to get the word out before the plan starts. So you may have seen me or one of my colleagues at any of these community association meetings over the spring and summer. We actually just had a meet and greet on October 17th at the Algier Theater. We did a temporary planning office in one of the vacant storefronts there, pictured here. And we had a great turnout, actually exceeded the capacity. Folks were on the roof, folks were checking out the theater itself. And that was a great opportunity just to kind of get to know your neighbors, get to know some of the folks working on the planning team, and ask any questions, just like we're about to get into here. So that's what that looked like. And I also have announcements for the first community meeting. So this will be the official kickoff of the plan, happening Wednesday, December 11th from 6 to 8. We don't have a location yet, so stay tuned, but just hold that date and more details will follow. So please stay connected for those that do have access to the internet. This website, detroitmi.gov/eastwarren, is where you can subscribe to the newsletter, so you get meeting updates, you can download presentations to a meeting you may have missed. My contact information is there as well. And if you prefer a phone, come see me after, and I can connect you that way as well. All right, thanks for your time.
Hi, Alan. Maureen Dritson with East English Village.
Hi, Maureen.
One thing I'm not clear on is the monies that are allocated for the parks. Can that be directed toward an actual community center as well, or community center as part of the parks program? Because that is something that I feel we have Chandler and Baldock that are beautiful, and our residents really take advantage of that. But as far as a community center for the youth or for seniors, I'm just wondering if that would come out as part of the recommendations. Is that a possibility?
Sure. Excellent question, and we hear this question a lot, the desire to have more rec centers.
Mm-hmm.
that is a policy decision that lies in General Services Department, and it's strategic given the lack of resources and the need to serve more than just these 3 neighborhoods. So the budget that we have for this project, I can tell you, is not in the range that would cover something like that. And I would defer to the General Services Department to talk about where that would be a possibility.
That would be. Okay, thank you.
Good evening. Hi, my name is Rhonda Morton. I'm from East Side Drive Community Association. And I would just have a question, because now that the school, St. David, has been cut down and demolished, I was wondering, how do we get the community on a list to turn it into a park? You know, like you have different community projects, but we're not on anybody's list for any project. So we have an opportunity that now that this space is empty, can we possibly turn it into a park? And is your department the one that handles that particular information?
Yeah, that's exactly the type of discussion we would want to have as part of this planning process. The study area, there are 3 parks already in the studying area.
I see that.
But as you can see, there's some areas such as Morningside, north of East Warren, that are further away from parks. So we definitely will be looking at opportunities for new park area as well as improving existing parks. As I mentioned in the previous question, there is a limited budget, so we need to, balance those things.
Well,
but that's the conversation that we want to have.
Okay, that would be East Side Drive and Gratiot.
Okay.
I'm just trying to figure out something here. Isn't West End part of District 4?
Yes, it is.
So why we're not getting any kind of like planning and development community centers or anything in our area? I mean, because it's real, it's real desolate down there. So I'm trying to figure out, I'm feeling some type of way like West End don't matter.
Don't feel that way. I have a solution for you. Keep in mind, let me respond. Let me respond. Keep in mind, District 4 is probably the largest or second largest geographic district. When we approved these districts in 2012, we had to find 100,000 people. And we had to move District 4 far and wide to make 100,000 people. These strategic areas here are areas that were chosen by the City of Detroit Planning Department and some of our funders. So if you were here earlier, I told you that we have the District 4. We went beyond the City of Detroit. We have the District 4 fund. Northern District has it. We have monies, thousands of dollars from Quicken Loans, from TCF. We run that facility. ECN, or that fund, ECN is our fiduciary. So if you have a community association, if you have a small project you want to do, it's free money. We'll give it to you. There on our website, there's an application, fill it out. We'll work with you on it. But we have monies to give to small organizations, do small projects until the city can come in. We can't do the whole city at one time.
Yeah, because we had put in for a brewer to do something on Brewer, and that was taken away from us.
So come forward, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Come here. This is the printed application for the D4 fund. You could be the first group that will get something here. So fill it out. If you need us to help you out, see Keisha Bradley. Fill it out. You got it? Everybody with us be giving you this form, right? Take the form, fill it out. Call us when you get it filled out, and we'll help you out with the rest, okay? All right. Again, anyone else, our webpage, Detroit D4, has the application on it. We have monies to give to you from District 4. I remind you, we're the only district with a separate fund to help for small projects in our area. And then Marine, you mentioned work centers. The Channel Park Conservancy has put together a study with U of M architects. The study is almost complete on a major recreational consultant. They have it done. We met with the Housing Commission because they have land we're looking at near Chandler Park for a recreation center. And we chose that area because it's centrally located in the district. So we are the only district without a rec center besides District 7. We're hoping that once the plan is done, we can go out to find, we'll do it ourselves if we have to. We're looking at $10 to $15 million for the recreation center. And we have it in such a way where we can build it in modules, in parts. It can be all done in one time. So the Channel Park Conservancy is leading that effort, and we'll make sure you all at our next meeting when they have the full report back, we'll give you an update on that. Yeah. I'm sorry? Oh, I don't have the form. Where's the young lady? Yeah, she has it. I don't have the form. The D4 Community Fund. Yeah. Go ahead.
What are they gonna do with the Hutchinson building? Big as that building is on French Road and East Warren. I mean, the planning development, what?
We'll pull you to the side on that one. That's not in the footprint. This is right here, these three plans.
No, it's in District 4.
Yeah, it's not in the footprint of the 3 areas that we're doing. I know it's in District 4, but we have 3 designated areas. I'll pull you to the side on that one. And then lastly, where are the Jeff Chalmers folk? Jeff Chalmers? Jeff Chalmers, raise your hand real high. Don't be scared. Jeff Chalmers. That's it? Is Chris Perkins still here? Where's Chris? Can you stand up, Chris? Chris is from Rebuilding Detroit, South and Eastern Michigan. We met about a year or 2 ago, his organization. They have an interest in Jeff Chalmers, and you all think we're bringing this stuff. We're not psyching you out here. He has another program just for Jeff Chalmers. They will try to expand beyond that in the future, but there's an application. You have some in the back, Chris? The application in the back. Pick up a flyer in the back before you leave. There are additional opportunities for grants from Rebuilding Together South and Eastern Michigan. So see Chris before you leave. We're here to help. We know government cannot do everything. That's why we go on to the business community and to private sector nonprofits to help us in rebuilding our district. Alan, anything else?
Just real quick, there's also flyers for those 2 community meetings that I mentioned, for the Grash at 7 meeting as well as the East Warren meeting. There's flyers in the back, so please take one and share with your people. Yeah, thanks again.
All right, we have 2 more presentations. District 4. He is a District 4 resident. He's representing the Office of the Assessor and the Property Tax Board of Review. Welcome, Mr. Willie Donwell. Willie?
How's everybody doing this evening? How many homeowners do we have? I want to see everybody's hand up. That's right. We are D4, right? So I got to hear it. We are D4. We are D4. All right, now, I live actually on Algonquin. When I walk out my front door, I look at that Chrysler plant every day. So I'm dealing with the same issues that all of you have, the same concerns. I do too. My name is Willie Donwell. I'm the Chair Administrator of the City of Detroit's Board of Review. The Board of Review is a 9-member body appointed by City Council to hear your property tax appeals and concerns. The Office of the Assessor is charged with valuing your property. That's their job. Their job is to do a sales study every year to determine the value of your property the upcoming year. So they will look at information from the past year all the way up until October of last year, from September the previous year, and then look at a geographic area and determine the value of your property individually. You actually have the right to appeal your assessment every year if you want to. You want to make sure that that your property is assessed fairly and correctly. And the process, and well, let me go back just one little bit before I go any further. I don't have a slideshow. I brought paper because I want people to leave with documents in their hands and information that they can have. So, in the Citizens Information Packet, it talks about the Board of Review, the appeal process. The Office of the Assessor must send out an assessment notice, and when you get it in the mail, typically in January, early February, it says this is not a bill, which it is not. It is telling you what your proposed assessed and taxable value is going to be for the upcoming year. So in 2020, you're going to get an assessment notice, and that assessment notice is going to have information about your 2020 assessed and taxable value. If you do not get one, if you do not get an assessment notice, it does not stop you from appealing your assessment. If you do not get one, it does not stop you from appealing your assessment. What does stop you from appealing your assessment is you, and if you don't go down to the Office of the Assessor and file between the 1st and 15th of February. Again, the information is here in the Citizens Information Packet. During that 1st and 15th, you have the right to actually either sit down or talk with someone in the assessor's office and let them explain to you how they assessed your property. You have the right to actually ask for the sales study that they used to determine the value of your property. Look at that information. They're not going to make an immediate determination then, but they are going to make sure that they take any information that you have relative to your contention of value. So if you have structural damage, if you have issues with the property, if you believe the square footage is wrong, if you believe there was called outside obsolescence, meaning abandoned or vacant properties, things that directly affect the value of your property, you want to bring that information into the Office of the Assessor and share that with them. Again, this is probably one of the few times, or the only time, that you will actually have the ability to challenge your assessment prior to taxation. And so after the assessor's review, you're going to get a statement in the mail, and it's going to give the new value, whether it's going to be the same or what their adjustment is, for what they're proposing after the assessor's review. If you are not satisfied with the decision of the Office of the Assessor, you have the right to appeal that assessment to the March Board of Review. And that's where myself and 8 other citizens of the city of Detroit sit to determine whether or not that value is fair. Bring in information regarding your property. Unfortunately, we don't work by osmosis, so we have to have certain things to be able to tell us what's going on. Again, information regarding sales in your area. Again, if you're having structural damage or other things that affect the value of your property, you want to bring that information in. Internal and external factors. Perfect example, the young lady from Cadillac. I know Cadillac very well. My wife's grandmother used to stay on Cadillac between Mack and Gulfie. Again, I live on Algonquin and have grown up on the east side. I grew up on Harding, so I know this neighborhood extremely well. Harding, okay. All right, so know the neighborhood extremely well. But in addition to that, I actually drive the entire city twice a year to look at the changes that are going on in the city, because the landscape of the city is constantly changing. And you have to have people that, if they're going to sit in office, have geographic competence in terms of what's going on. So when you come in front of the Board of Review, we know what's going on. We know the outside factors that's about your properties, but internally, we don't know. And to be honest, the Office of the Assessor doesn't know. The Office of the Assessor, again, is looking at a sales study, and they don't actually come in and look inside of your home unless they have cause to. So information regarding things that are going on inside of the property that you believe affects your property value, you need to share that with them. And you also need to share that with us. It is our job to make sure that the assessment is fair, not to determine how much tax you will pay, but ultimately the decision could affect how much tax you will pay. And again, the information is in the packet. If you're not satisfied even still with the March Board of Review, you can actually still even appeal that decision to the Michigan Tax Tribunal. The Michigan Tax Tribunal is a very formal setting where there is a hearing officer or a tribunal judge where you appear in front of, along with a person from the Office of the Assessor who will be defending the city's position. But again, you want to make sure that you bring as much information as possible. You want to bring as much information as possible. You want to bring as much information as possible. And I'm saying this so that it sinks in, right, in all 3 stages. That information is critical in terms of the value that you believe that your property is worth. The one thing that I have to say is we do have a lot of sales that's going on in the city, but the value of your property may not be consistent with those sales. So you want to make sure that the information that you bring supports the value that you believe that your property is set at. The last couple things that I want to mention before I start taking questions is, so there's, again in the packet, several other things that, ways that you can help reduce or manage your property taxes. One, Treasury has implemented a pay in advance program. So every year, starting in February, you can actually pay towards your property taxes. So that way, when you get that bill in July, it's not so bad. It's important that we manage our dollars because we have other things going on in our household besides property taxes. It's lights, gas, water, it's food, it's medication, and all the other things that we have to deal with. So sometimes the city needs to understand that, and understanding that they've implemented a program where you can actually start paying in advance on a monthly basis towards your property taxes. which I think will help a lot of individuals stay on track. Also, do we have any veterans in the audience? All right, so Public Act 161 was actually, came into effect in November of 2013. Veterans who have 100% service-connected disability or special adaptive housing or considered individually unemployable can have their property taxes exempt, only on their homestead. 100% service-connected disability, special adaptive housing, or considered individually unemployable. Only for your homestead, you can have your property taxes exempt. Again, the information is in the information packet. The last thing I want to talk about, I'm going to talk a little bit slower because it's something that's very, very close to me. I do not want to see anyone lose their home for property taxes. I do not want to see anyone lose their home for property taxes. The Homeowners Property Tax Assistance Program gives a homeowner the ability or opportunity to have their current year property taxes exempt based upon income or circumstance. Income or circumstance. And what I mean by circumstance is the Board of Review has the ability to deviate from the guidelines for what's called substantial and compelling reasons. And you say, well, Mr. Donwell, what's that? So you may have an individual in your household with special needs, or you're a caregiver for someone in the household who just can't get around. You yourself have a health circumstance that creates a disability where you just can't take care of yourself the way you used to. So if your income is above the guidelines, I'm going to ask that you still apply and let the Board of Review determine whether or not you'll be granted. The key is sharing as much information as possible. And it's no magic wand. It's not that you're going to be automatically exempt from property taxes. There is a process. But we try to help as many people as possible in terms of making sure that they're able to stay in their homes. The last thing that we need is another empty house, another blighted property, and another cost to the city of tearing down the property, right? So the idea is that through this program, if we can help you stay in that home, also if you have back taxes, because the Board of Review has no authority to address back taxes, but if you can get exempt of the current year, it can help you get focused on paying those back taxes. Again, we have to manage those dollars, right? So keep all these things in mind. Read the information that I provided. The last thing, there was a couple things that were talked about that's not in my wheelhouse, but I'm going to cover because, again, it's in the packet. When it comes to legal advice and things like that, government officials cannot provide you legal advice. That's not our responsibility. But there are great agencies out there that can. And there's a list of them, including United Community Housing Coalition, Wayne Metro, Michigan Legal Services. All of them provide free Southwest Solutions. All of them provide free assistance in terms of getting you through probate and getting you through the process. We have connected with 16 community groups and organizations and housing counselors to help individuals work through this process to help maintain home ownership in the city. So if you have that issue where you've been living in a property for years and years and years, and a parent passed away or a relative passed away, and you need to go through probate, again, they are listed in the Citizens Information Packet. You can contact one of them along with a list of others, a host of others that we have here, so that you can find the assistance that you need. I'll be happy to take any questions that you have. All right. They're right there on the table. Actually, packets and exemption applications are on the table. Yes, ma'am. Good.
So those taxes, is it once a year
Yeah.
or twice a year we have to fill it out?
No, once a year. So the application must be completed once a year. I recommend that you fill the application out the beginning of the year, and here's why. If you can be exempt at the March Board of Review, then the exemption will be applied to the tax bill when it comes out. If you file during the July or December, it's an adjustment. So I always recommend that people file the earliest part of the year, which is somewhere between January, no later than the middle of March. Applications for 2020 will be available online, actually around the 2nd to the 3rd of January, and then the printed applications will be available by the 10th of January.
Okay, thank you.
The current year applications are already available online, or you can pick them up in the city, in the office of the assessor in room 804. Or again, in the packet, any of the 16 organizations, if you go to one of them, they will actually print the application for you if you visit one of them at one of their sites. All right.
And with that application, Mr. Don, it has to be notarized, correct? It has to be notarized, the application?
So it's actually two parts to that. If you are an able working body person, yes, you have to have the application notarized. If you are homebound or have a disability where it makes you difficult to get the application notarized, there is an option too. So you can sign that as an option, provide evidence of your disability or of your substantial age, and you do not have to have it notarized.
And for able-bodied persons who just can't get downtown, you don't want to pay the park, guess what? Every single person outside of me in our office is a notary. We'll come to you, all right? So that's Keisha, Bradley, Ed, Delaney, and Keith. We'll come to you to notarize it for you so you don't have to come downtown, all right? Lastly, we're just a little bit behind, but this is very important. We have a major artery that comes through our district, that is I-94, for their modernization project. Please welcome Mr. John Balduff, who will come at this time with this presentation. Welcome, John.
All right, thank you all. Thank you, Councilman Spivey and your team for putting on today's meeting and having us to give an update tonight. Before I get started, there's a couple other folks in the room here tonight. Like Councilman Spivey said, I'm John Balduff. I'm one of the engineers leading the planning and design for the corridor. In the audience, we also have Kim Avery, who's with the Michigan Department of Transportation. She's the Metro Region engineer. And we also have Rob Morosi with MDOT Communications. I think he's hiding here somewhere as well. Then a couple other folks from our communications team here were handing out some information when you walked in. We do have a very nice newsletter that gives some information about the project and a comment form, which I'll talk a little bit in a couple of moments here. So again, thank you for having us again. We've been, the past couple of years, really out in the community, getting feedback about the project. And for those unfamiliar, the 94 project runs from I-96 on the west to Conner Avenue on the east. It's about a 7-mile project. There's over 60 bridges in the corridor. The construction of the project's going to be around $2.9 billion, so it's a very large project that is coming this way. Over the past couple of years, like I said, we've been out in the community quite heavily. I think about a year ago, we were at this very venue to get feedback on what the design is going to be and how we can make updates to better fit into the community. Since then, we've been making a lot of updates to the project and putting together a formal report. And that was just made available for public review and comment. That's shown here in the middle. And we had a public hearing on October 10th, actually in this very room. And before I get to the details of that, some other things that are kind of ongoing in the corridor, and then I'll give an update here tonight, are some construction of bridges throughout the corridor. As in the District 4 area, we have French Road that's under construction right now. And in Concord, a little bit east of here, and then also Brush Street in downtown. Looking ahead, we have our environmental report, which the newsletter that we handed out gives a little details on. we're going to need approval on that before we can move forward for the major construction, the freeway construction itself. And that's anticipated to start around the 2023 timeframe. So we're a couple years away, but we're getting ready to move in that direction. So tonight I'm just going to give a little update. I could talk all night about what the design is. We have the newsletters there that gives a little bit more information about that. But we just finished our big report that we put together that really captured all of the comments that we got from the community here and the updates to the design that we made. We've also done updated assessment on a number of other factors within the community, such as neighborhood impacts, traffic, noise, and air quality, drainage and stormwater impacts to parks and recreational properties. And then we also did a comprehensive study of historic and archaeological resources in the corridor. We presented these findings at the public hearings held on October 10th. We actually had two. One was at the Detroit Historical Museum and one here at the Wayne County Community College Eastern Campus. Between the two meetings, we had about 120 attendees. It was an official public hearing process, so we had a court reporter. We had about 20 verbal comments, 16 written comments at the meetings. And we also had a 45-day comment period, which actually wraps up today. And so one of the important things I want to highlight is when you came in, you got a comment form. So please feel free to fill that out and submit that to one of us if you want to leave it with one of us here tonight. If you want to go back home, we also are accepting comments through online. We also have an email. But we do also have the written comment here tonight, like I said. So what are the next steps? We are wrapping up the official comment period, which ends tonight. And we're going to take back all the comments we received from all the stakeholders, and we will look to review those comments and consider those. We'll provide official responses to those, which will be in our final report, which will also be published for public review and comments. Depending on the comments, there may be some updates that are made, similar to what we've been doing over the past couple of years here. And we'll be looking to get to the final report and what we call a record of decision, which is really the Federal Highway Administration final approval of the project. And that approval, which is anticipated in spring, summer of next year, will give us approval to move forward on the design and construction of the freeway corridor itself. With that, moving to just a quick construction update. Like I said, this year we're out there constructing the Brush Street, Concord Street, and French Road bridges. Those are shown here, orange on the map here. And next year we also have 4 other bridges that are going to construction. And that's 2nd Avenue, Mount Elliott Street, as those of you are aware, is in definitely in need of repair. So we'll be getting out there next year. Milwaukee Avenue over I-75, and then East Grand Boulevard in front of the GM Hamtramck plant. Just a quick update on where we stand with the construction. Right now, French Road and Concord bridges are anticipated to be open to traffic by November 15th. There'll be some additional work that will continue through November, such as sidewalks. And then into spring of next year, there'll be some minor work on surfacing or protecting the concrete with concrete coating, and then some traffic signal work around those bridges. Brush is anticipated to open up to traffic at the end of November. That's a little bit west of here, but wanted to provide that update as well. Looking into 2020, the Mount Elliott, East Grand Boulevard, and 2nd Avenue bridges are looking to start in early February. That's when you'll start to see roadway closures for those bridges. And those will continue through 2020 and wrapping up at the end of 2020, early 2021. Milwaukee over I-75 will start in the spring, so it's a little bit after the other 3 bridges. So you'll look to see any closures on Milwaukee around spring 2020. One of the unique things about the construction next year is 2nd Avenue. This is not in District 4, but a nice piece for the I-94 corridor is a tied arch bridge structure. It's actually one of the first in the state of Michigan. This is kind of a similar concept on the right, but this is a pretty unique design, and this bridge type actually requires us to assemble the entire bridge off-site, and they'll put it on these big movers that you can see in the lower right corner, and they'll drive it and set it in place. So that'll be a unique thing happening next year that you'll see, and that's anticipated to wrap up in late 2020, early 2021. And so we provided some handouts tonight. We had the newsletter that provides information about some of the updates we've made, some of the outreach we've done over the last couple years. So you have that in your hands. We also have our project website, which is a little hard to see. It's i94detroit.org for those who have access to internet. And I mentioned that our report is out for public review and comment. It's posted on our website, but we also have it posted at a number of locations at libraries and community centers throughout the corridor. Hard copies for folks without internet that can access that and read that. So with that, that wraps up my quick updates. I'll open up to any questions. So please come forward.
The freeway, they patching up in so many places, but then they putting new stuff down on the other side. But the wintertime, when the salt hit it, it's gonna be a deeper hole.
Yes. Yes, so there's some interim maintenance work that is occurring right now before we get to the freeway reconstruction. When we do get to the freeway reconstruction, it will be fully reconstructed all the way down. They'll remove all the concrete, put back new concrete, the drainage will be updated. So that's coming. There's some interim maintenance work until we get to that point to keep it open to traffic.
Any other questions for I-94? You got the mic, so can you question?
I don't know, you may have already said this, but when is the entrance to 94 from Connor going to be reopened? And so now I see that not only has Connor is closed, and then I think Gratiot is now closed too. So I don't even know how to get on 94 anymore.
Yes. I can check into when that ramp is opening. I know it's open now. It opens Saturday night. Thank you, Rob.
Okay, so the one on Connor and then the one on Gratiot too is open on now?
The one on Gratiot?
Chalmers is open.
Oh, Chalmers. Okay. Yep.
Anyone else for I-94? All right, very good. We have, well, Lady was here tonight. We have a situation in Grosse Pointe, so she had to go to the Grosse Pointe City Council meeting this evening to handle something, but wanted me to announce that this coming Wednesday, the 30th, from 5:30 to 7:30, there is the Department of Neighborhoods Community Dinner at the Samaritan Center in the Wellness Center this coming Wednesday, October 30th, from 5:30 until 7:30. So we gave you a lot of dates at the beginning of the meeting. If you need them, again, I'll give them to you after the meeting. But we have a lot going on the next 2 months here in District 4, and we want you to be as many things as possible. Also, we try to get everyone the information via the internet and things like that. But if you really need hard copies, Bradley and Keisha are always in the community. Just call us and let us know. We'll bring it by your home. And then also, if you go to the website, you can put your phone number, register your phone number. We send text messages when I-94 is closed, when the exit is open or closed. If you can't get online, call our office. Give us your cell phone number, and we'll put that in our system so you get updates about what's happening in District 4, so you're not left behind with any information that we have going on. That is all I want to give you. Before we end, I do want to recognize once in this area, we were represented by the Dean of the U.S. Congress, who's the longest-serving African-American congressperson. That is Honorable John Conyers, who passed away. If we can have a brief moment of silence in his memory at this time. A brief moment of silence in memory of the Honorable John Conyers. Thank you very much, and thank you, Congressman Conyers, for your service. Again, we gave you a lot of dates. We want you at everything. If you need them, come see me, see Bradley or Keisha, and then Wayne County Community College is always opening their doors. Wave your hand. We thank you for opening your doors for us being here. DPD, thank you. Media Services, thank you. So come see me if you have any questions or if you need some more dates. Thank you all very much, and God bless you.